it doesn't matter how polished it is. We're all a bit sick of AI perfection. We're now looking for the scrutiny in content where people and being real are in.
Which is quite an oxymoron, isn't it? Fakery that feels authentic. Welcome back to Digital Dividends. I'm Mark, and today we've got Jodie.
I'm Jodie. I head up the brand strategy department and make sure everything gets delivered and on time.
Well, I think you're going to struggle with today's topic.
Oh.
And I have a theory around that because we actually spend most of our time trying to polish things. But today we're going to talk about how polished is out and people are in. Authenticity.
Wherever you want to lay the turn between polished and authentic is subjective.
That's
but
right.
As marketers, we do roll them in glitter at times.
There you go. You got the truism.
Yep.
Yes. And if it's gold glitter, there's extra points, aren't there?
Yeah. Silvers are fine too.
Can't polish that turn. But we are seeing a shift in the way people are trying to tell their stories, aren't we? We're seeing this overproduction, this excessive sort of glamour photography, things that are overselling or what is deemed as overselling is actually becoming a lot lesser. And we are seeing that people, well, both the algorithms show us that we see content fatigue and we're seeing that people want that, not quite warts and all, but certainly something a lot more genuine, a lot more authentic.
Yeah, it's like the complete spectrum is from even back from when Andy Warhol predicted that everyone will have their 15 minutes of fame. So now social media has enabled that. But then we've got that if you know kind of level of sharing where it's, warts and all, everything's out there. And I'm excited to see how that information is becoming more gated and it doesn't matter how polished it is. We're all a bit sick of AI perfection. We're now looking for the scrutiny in content where people and being real are in, but we're also protecting that by shying away from social media and having these gated communities where we then partition tips out. So, but we're still, if you want to be able to share stuff and be real, that's still getting taken up. But in the distant future, it's going to be like, join my newsletter. Here is my live. You have to watch this to catch it at the right time. And then on top of that, we're seeing things like Kim Kardashian, who's selling live while embedding it in her natural life. And that is the gold. And you can't AI that and you can't fake that. Well, I mean, Kim Kardashian can fake anything, but it's highly curated and it's highly valuable and it feels authentic.
So, which is quite an oxymoron, isn't it? Fakery that feels authentic, but at the same time, great actors do that. They're able to play the role well, and part of that playing of the role is extending beyond just in the moment to the preparation of and the impact after. Yeah. It's a real storytelling sort of arc, isn't it?
I think that comes from being really aware of your audience. They're probably sick of, like, if you follow influencers in the wild on Instagram, you'll see that people are really fatigued over this churn cycle of fakeness. They want products that are embedded in their life where they feel that the person using it genuinely uses it. And on top of that, it's like a trade secret that they're going to share with you. So it feels really special and like you're included in this kind of, maybe not for you, but cool girl scene where you only if you know.
Oh, cool girl scene, I'm there. But the one thing I have seen, though, is even when you think of, say, a professional services firm, and they're thinking about, well, which logos will I show to attract the ideal next client? We're often showing our absolute best client ever, and we got that client because our mate got a job there and we got pulled in. And that's not actually representative of the typical customer we might be going for. And we see it a lot in the logo compacts for clients when they want to say, well, they're sort of imposting, there's a little imposter syndrome going on where they're trying to show that their business can do these really big, great, wonderful things. Yeah. But actually most of it works over here.
Yeah.
I think that authenticity isn't just in the socials, it's in representing who we are and who we help, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, and you said something that really resonates with me is in terms of polished is out, like slapping your logo on something at the very end of a social post, it just feels like selling. And that is also marketing toward an ego of a business owner their customers don't really care about that. And while we see the McDonald's logo splashed at the end of an ad sometimes, it's just not necessarily needed. And as soon as we see carousels and TikToks with a logo put on it, thinking that that's my brand doing its marketing, that's actually a brand using organic media to sell and advertise. Put some money into that ad, get it on paid media. Don't ruin the audience that you have by smashing your logo in their face all the time.
I love that. It reminds me of something around even like marketing relates in lots of different ways. So we do marketing in many areas. And one of those is, say, network marketing, where we're at a networking function and we're meeting people. One of the classic things like you will all have heard, which is, who are you, what do you do? And one way I'm enjoying twisting that just lately, which I think talks back to slapping your logo on things, you know, a little crass and a little bit what's in it for me is on the side of the logo holder. The way I prefer to answer that question is, you know, who do you help and why, you know, how do you make their lives better?
Yeah, exactly.
Really nice way to get to the heart of what you exist to do for customers.
I think that's a real growth mindset, not so much a here's the services we offer.
What can I say to you? Yeah. What are some of the things you're seeing brands getting right when it comes to doing real?
Doing real during reels, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. I was just thinking that might be confusing. when someone's trying to be real, it's ironic. That should be the simplest thing in the world. It actually gets to become the hardest thing.
I was going to pull you up on that. You shouldn't try to be real.
Yeah.
And so the people that are doing well in an authentic way are people that specialize. So if you're a trend forecaster, a lot of things that you talk about have been deeply researched and you specialize in that area. But it's more so the way that they can connect and communicate with the person that they're talking to, as if they're in an intimate conversation with them. Not, even I've seen that, you know, probably going to hell for this one, but real estate agents sometimes do this really well, but they can also do it the cold-hearted way of talking to the masses. But I have seen a comparison of, especially on TikTok, I think it's a Brisbane real estate or Brisbane Buyers Club, and they do a really good thing of, here's what $2 million buys you in real estate now. Not, hey, come and check this house out. It's worth $2 million. So they've flipped the script on saying, this is what's in it for you. This is how we help you. And I think a lot of places get that wrong.
Yeah, I think that helps really. The help word is so important. It reminds me of also when it's overproduced, it's also contrived. You're trying to make something you do fit with the target prospects world that you can wedge your way in there. And it reminds me of when I was at Fox Sports, we would sweat over these storyboards and these angles to promote upcoming events or productions, whatever it might be. And yet the things that always popped were the hallway grabs of someone who participates in that sport or someone around that sport. Just something really natural. Largely off the cuff. Of course, we prepared people. We can't stick, you know, a mic and a phone and a camera in someone's face and expect them to be natural. But, you know, at least not scripting every last little word. It comes off a whole lot.
Yeah, well, they've probably had that media training, let's hope.
A little bit, yeah. It doesn't mean it helps some of the sports players.
No, actually, more often than not. But it is good when you can just take something unexpected and give an insight. So anything behind the scenes, or just a little grab of what we're doing that's not pushing our services. Because sometimes I'm fascinated. Like I follow an undertaker in Victoria. I'm keen to know what happens when they do an autopsy. I have no medical understanding, but there is a lady there that I follow that talks through it, and I'm fascinated by that. So she's a person. She talks about dead people all the time. I'm like, that's really interesting. And that's all I need from her. I don't need to slap a logo on it and tell me to buy a coffin from them.
You're interested already.
Yeah.
I've got a book for you, Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, which is written by a lady who worked in a mortuary.
I'm on socials. I have like 6 seconds to understand things.
Exactly.
A book, gee.
Yeah, and I'm old. But anyway, the other thing here is authentic can also not take as much work to produce if you're very true and clear about what you're trying to say versus produced and, you know, a whole crew and a team and the cost involved. Is it also a really great gateway for smaller businesses to be able to play at this and mid-sized companies to get a nice cadence and a volume without overthinking it too much?
Yeah, and I remember working with a financial planner that knew his stuff. He's been doing it for 20 years. And I'm like, tell me about what you guys do here day to day. It's like, oh, we do this and we also do insurance claims and we speak with this and we do that. And I was like, oh my God, boring. And I just said, and I knew that he was really into rugby league and he had a football on his desk. And I said, now, can you tell me that again? But I'm going to throw a footy at you halfway through. And it just was so much more interesting. Yeah. And knowing that he's like a guy that is human that also likes the footy just had so much better engagement than, the teacher from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Yeah. Like the comparison is so much better. It's like Rabs and that guy, yeah.
But it's also very few people are comfortable when the camera comes up.
Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah.
But breaking that ice, and we often will do those little burner videos, don't we, where we do a couple of ones that we know we're not going to need them.
Yeah.
But just get them in the flow, get people moving. It's a good tip, I think, to loosening up. And yeah. What about other sort of simple formats that work that you've seen people use quite well?
For the camera shy, often photographies or even bloopers. We were at a photo shoot earlier today and it wasn't until they thought the camera was off that we got some of their best angles and some of their best quotes. So I think it really comes down to the content team drawing that out of you. And I know there's like Insta husbands and all that kind of thing that help as well. But honestly, if my husband and I worked on this, I'd forever just look upset like he was just always doing the wrong thing. So I don't want anyone else to feel like that.
Instant husband. Well, we had Married at First Sight, I suppose. It's a somewhat instant husband. What's the top line thought, the takeaway when it comes to polished is out, people are in, what do I take that back to my business and start doing?
Back to how you would talk to people in real life. And I really like your angle of how do you help people? And anytime I'm at a networking event or listening intently at a social gathering, the thing that pulls me in is a story about what they've done recently or how they were fascinated by something.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably ask yourself those questions like, how do we help people? Or if I had to sum up what I do in a couple of words to a 5-year-old, what would that be?
I think also not sweating every piece. When you look back at the videos or the podcasts or the things that we've done that have popped, they weren't the ones we thought would.
No.
And so just kind of being relaxed about genuinely answering a question or helping, as we are today, to guide people through some of the conundrums they're facing, being helpful and useful, and just giving that answer to a question that people are out there thinking.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. And I think mostly consistency beats cinematic quality. So just be consistent, and it doesn't have to be every single day. It's definitely not quantity over quality. You just got to give it a crack and you can iterate along the way. But even something once a month just to get you in the swing of it. And
Wonderful. Thanks, Jodie. I'm going to give you a little factoid tidbit that I reckon I've remembered correctly. Andy Warhol, I think, was the world's most prolific painter. He was the most, well, let me say this correctly, he was the most hung artist ever.
Oh, okay.
Let's do a fact check on that later.
Sure. You can Google that one and add that to your algorithm.
All right, excellent. Thank you for joining Digital Dividends.
Bye.